Alright, today's video, or today's upload, was supposed to be my final slam video on the non-circumcised frame. I was basically going to explain why this is the worst candidate to ever suppress.
Ooh, that blowback though.
As I was moving that footage into the computer, getting ready to edit, this guy walks in. I was like, hey. He's like, hey, I talked to you a few times on the phone, you know, about possibly selling off my collection. I'm not going to say that I thought he was full of on the phone, but I thought he was full of because, you know, the proof is in the pudding. If you got a collection to sell, bring it in, and let's start selling that. So anyway, I get off the computer as he walks in. We start talking, and he's like, hey, help me carry some stuff in from the vehicle. He starts bringing his collection in that we're going to be selling. Some M1 Grands, which these are pretty cool. You know, caught my attention. Enfields. Okay, you know, that's cool too. This contraption, which is unique because it opens like this. You put your cartridges in, shut it, and then it feeds it into the bolt. It's like a very early design of a magazine. The uniqueness about that, you know, that's pretty awesome, but, you know, for me, honestly, aside from the fact of selling it, it doesn't really matter to me because, you know, yeah, I want an M1 Grand, but I want something special. I don't mean, like, special as in, like, it's gotta be a B model or something like that, but it's gotta be special to me. Like, I wish I could have taken that International Harvester one that we had home. Then I started talking, I'm like, man, these are some really cool guns. You know what I'd like to get my hands on is a trench gun. He's like, I have one. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, I have one. So I checked it out. Now, there was a couple of things that stood out right away that I pretty much assumed this was a clone immediately. That's why I only was willing to pay clone prices for it. One, there's no sling swivel stud in the rear. And to the best of my knowledge, I may be wrong, all of these had a sling swivel. Yeah, it's got the point in the front, but the piece is missing. Which, that's not a definite thing. You know, maybe there's a model I don't know about. The next thing is the barrel was too short. It's measuring 18.5. It should have had a 20-inch barrel, so there should have been a little nub of barrel sticking out right about here. The second thing is the serial number on the receiver did not match the barrel. It did not have the US markings on it, which some of them did, some of them didn't. And those things stood out right away, so I hadn't run the serial number yet, so I don't know if it was real or not. But because those things were off about it, not to mention it said full choke instead of cylinder bore, which I was, at the time, was pretty sure they all had cylinder bore. I started negotiating for a price as if it was a clone, because there's a good chance it is a clone, so I didn't want to pay like $4,000 for something that's not original. So I did get it for a decent price, so if it was a clone, I'd still be happy. I did run the serial number, and from what I can find, this is a clone. Which I don't care, because I plan on actually shooting this. Like, I have Magpul furniture coming in for it. I'm going to be mounting a rail right there, putting on an aim point. I'm just kidding. One day I'll have to stand before God, and there's no way I want to have to explain that. No, I want this exactly the way it is. The length of pull on this particular one, which I believe it's cut down because it doesn't quite match the butt plate, is 13 inches. My favorite is 12.25. Another reason why I want a retro clone instead of just something you can buy is because it can do this. So you cock it and it cocks your hammer back. Well, if you were to keep firing this, you just hold down the hammer and it automatically sends the hammer forward, slam firing it. Some government agent and all their wisdom is like, oh, if you hold the trigger and it fires more than one shot, that's considered an automatic, so they can't make them like that anymore. So if you want that capability, you gotta get an older one. So we're gonna be going through, I guess you'd call this part one of, which I don't know what to name this yet. Put your suggestions in the comments. Like, my 590A one, I call that the pig stick. And no, that's not a derogatory statement against police. I call it a pig stick because if, you know, you're at the family barbecue and they're like, hey, we're gonna roast a pig. You grab the pig stick, drop in your shotgun shell, Here, piggy, 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 piggy. That's why I call it a pig stick, because it's the stick we use to put down pigs. So anyway, I need to come up with a name with this. I may or may not pick one that's in the comments, but if anything, it'll inspire an idea to actually come up with a good name for this. But we're going to be going through step by step as I make this back in its original glory. Like, there's a couple of screws missing on the pump. The pump split a little bit, so I'm going to show you guys how to fix wood. Obviously, I'm not going to stain this unless I absolutely have to, but I don't want to. If anything, I'll wind up doing a linseed oil if I have to. But I'm going to try to leave the finish exactly the way it is. I'm just going to be fixing the cracks in the wood. Going to be looking for a sling swivel stud. Going to try to find an original sling. I got to find a front sling swivel stud, but the problem is this was Parkerized and everything. But I need to find one in similar condition of this metal. Because the age of this metal just looks amazing. Like, whoever made this clone, I don't know if the front half is a clone. I forgot to run the serial number on this before I ran the video. I'll post both serial numbers right here. In case I'm wrong about something, you guys can correct me, because that would be pretty cool. But I'm 90% sure it's a clone, because I've never seen a full choke trench gun. They're always cylinder bore. So, you know, whatever. So anyway, I gotta find a sling swivel stud that, and for the front here, it's like this metal ring, but it's gotta be in the same shape as this. I'm debating on if I'm gonna find a new barrel, because if I replace this barrel, like, the age on this heat shield matches the age on the barrel very well. Like, just looking at this, if I hadn't already been drooling over these for a long time and knew a little bit about them, I would assume that this wasn't a clone. And the front end matches the receiver very well. If I do replace the barrel, what I'm going to have to do is get the stamping in for the U.S. military right there, and I'm going to have to repark the whole thing so it matches, but then I got to age the Parker. I'm probably going to leave it the way it is, unless, of course, this pattern's like crap. We're going to be taking the shooting pretty shortly here. Check the pattern, you know, see how it does. If the pattern's decent, I think I'm going to leave it exactly the way it is. But because this is supposed to be a full choke, and I know this barrel's cut down, I know this, because this is a C model, and from what I can find, they all have longer barrels. This may pattern on something I can't use, so there is a possibility of having to change the barrel. I don't know. This will be to come. Then I had seen somewhere they had, like, U.S. markings right here on the stock. I don't know if I'm going to try to find an actual stock. I'm probably going to keep this one because it just, the age matches, like, I keep pounding, the age matches the firearm very, very well. So I might just take the white painter right here that I've seen on them with markings, put that on there, fade it out a little bit. But anyway, this is the new one to my collection. And it's really awesome. I'm very pumped about this. Side note, if any of you can tell me what the hell this thing is for, because I haven't looked into it that much to actually know, that'd be pretty helpful. But yeah, because of him bringing his collection in, and I peered through some of the stuff he brought in, there was some things in there where I'm not exaggerating at all. I actually took a step backwards, put my hand up to my mouth, and I was like, oh! We're gonna have some very cool vids coming through really soon with some very ancient firearms that are very awesome. But thanks for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can always check out my Patreon. Don't forget to subscribe.